Towards McQueen. It's Daniel McQueen again for Edgeworth. And Hamill, can he make up for his chance before? I think it may be Daniel McQueen or Brent Hamill that could claim it.
Oh, the highlights, how good were they? The NPL Northern New South Wales winners, the Edgeworth Eagles. I've got Gary Fisher with me. What a day it was last Sunday, mate, at Magic Park.
Yeah, fantastic day, Peter. Great spectacle, fantastic crowd, over 4,000 people at our grand final. Beautiful day as well, which helped, obviously, but yeah, true credit. Great game of football as well. Yeah, excellent day.
It's been a big year for the Edgeworth Eagles.
It has. They've had a tremendous year again on the back of what they achieved last year by being premiers and grand final winners and round of 32 for the Westfield FFA Cup this year. They've gone one better in the Westfield FFA Cup, but the round of 16. Again, premiers, grand final winners again on Sunday, and then a trip to Melbourne in a couple of weeks' time to take on the Bentley Greens in the PS4 NPL Final Series. But fantastic season for that club again.
Yeah, it's an absolute credit to the coaching staff and the players that deliver week in, week out.
Yeah, push this year, I must say. Hamilton Olympic were the benchmark for a number of months. Surprisingly, Hamilton Olympic went through the regular season undefeated, but obviously lost the premiership. They had a few draws in amongst that to Edgeworth. But as far as the technical aspects of the game and what they've achieved in the last few years, yeah, Edgeworth Eagles are a level above everyone just at this point in time.
How would you summarise 2016?
Great year again, Peter. Fantastic numbers. The support, I must say, from Bar TV has been fantastic as well, and that's helped grow the game. The season in itself, or clubs have their disappointing seasons. You could obviously say Western and the Lambton Jaffas would be disappointed with their seasons, Adamstown to a lesser extent, but then you've got the success of again, as we've already mentioned, Edgeworth. Hamilton had a great year, Magic were in the grand final, and Maitland, after being back in the NPL for only the last 2 years, have made a semi-final, so they can be proud of their achievements, as all clubs can be. You know, that's the nature of sport. Somebody's got to run first and somebody's got to run last.
And the nature of sport, I guess, also off the field is the treasured volunteers that put the tremendous hours into organising the days.
Yeah, and it's not only that. The NPL means that we've gone up a gear. It's now considered the second tier competition in football in Australia. So clubs have had to lift with that as well, which puts added pressure on key volunteers at the club, key administrators. And Northern New South Wales football is always mindful of that, but always very thankful for the amount of hours and efforts that the clubs put in, week in, week out, not only throughout the season, but we were just saying as we were walking over here that planning for next year is already underway.
Mate, what can we expect for 2017? Is there anything new in the pipeline?
Yeah, well, obviously we've undertaken the review of the men's competitions in our premier competitions, which is just in the midst of being finalised as we speak, with an announcement due on the 20th of September regarding the structures for 2017 to 2019, which is the next NPL licensing period. So some announcements will be coming shortly in relation to that. So that will give the clubs some certainty in relation to where they sit in relation to the NPL for those next 3 years.
Mate, let's just go back to the FFA. It's been a fantastic few years for clubs, hasn't it? Here in the Hunter, here in Newcastle, especially in the Northern NPL. I mean, the Lambton Jaffas made it through. We've got Edgeworth making it through last year, Broadmeadow Magic. Yep. What does that do for numbers and registrations to get the kids involved here throughout the Northern NPL?
Obviously, the high profile that the FFA Cup brings increases numbers straight away. Like it's shown live on television. People make an affiliation, even though their club may not have made it. For instance, Edgeworth touched up Muswellbrook earlier in the season, so you obviously got the Muswellbrook people saying, "Oh, we played Edgeworth in round 1 of the FFA Cup, and they've gone on to the round of 16." Those clubs, those community type clubs that have played those clubs leading into the later stages have a connection with that competition. I mentioned Lambton being a tad disappointing in the NPL, but they can take something out of their achievements in the Westfield FFA Cup. obviously played a game in Tasmania in atrocious conditions, and we're probably the better football side, but just unfortunate the conditions on the night and a 1-0 result against them. But they can be proud of their efforts, and I'm sure they'll build upon that for next year.
I mean, we speak to a lot of parents, you know, a lot of officials at the clubs, and the good thing they say about football, especially in this part of the world, it's a continuous cycle. You know, you've got the competition throughout the year, then it goes into the Jets, and then before you know it, it's Christmas and New Year, and you're back into it again. So, never say die.
No, it never stops. It never stops. Obviously, the Jets are in pre-season training now. They're about to play our premiers, the Edgeworth Eagles, on Sunday, I believe, in a fixture, which is again a great connection between the Jets and our competition, to get to play the premiers, you know, just after they've played a grand final in a competition. So yeah, and then as you said, all through the summer you've got the Jets to support. All things looking that they're going to have a better year this year, which is fantastic, and hopefully, you know, a few wins and we flow into 2017.
Mate, you look like you can have a few weeks off now. Is it just, do you get a break, or you just keep on going?
Oh, no. Obviously, it slows down a little bit without having the week in, week out competitions, but it's now about planning for next year. We've obviously got to get draws out within the next few months. We've got to you know, look at regulations and see what worked, what didn't work. We've got to structure competitions and grounds with the clubs, work with the clubs. So plenty to do between now and sort of Christmas. We get a few weeks off over Christmas, but you know, it's a fantastic environment to be involved with. I love being involved with the clubs and working with the clubs. You know, I've got an affiliation with every club that I work with, and it's great to see clubs succeed and have some success.
Yeah, you mentioned there, you know, you'll reassess what worked and what didn't work. If you could rattle off a few things that actually did work this year, what are you the most proud of?
Oh, I think I'm just proud of what the clubs do week in, week out. Like, it's a tremendous task, whether you're in the NPL, but also whether you're in our second tier New FM men's competition, the women's WPL competition. They're all run by volunteers who have day jobs and have to come home and administer their football clubs. So I'm immensely proud of the achievements that they do week in, week out. Also, back to the NPL, I'm proud of the brand of football that we're now playing. We're attracting players, former ALeague players, to our clubs. You know, you've got Dean Heffernan, Matt Thompson at Maitland. You've got Joe Wheelhouse, at Lambton Jaffers. Daniel McBreen again back at Edgeworth Eagles and start on the weekend. So, and then other clubs, there's some connections with A-League clubs as well. And now with the coaching as well, we're getting people that have an affiliation with A-League clubs back coaching as well. Ruben Zadkovic next year with Broadmeadow Magic as well. So that just strengthens our game even more.
Does that also strengthen sponsorship dollars and advertisers? Do advertisers become attracted because of that?
I would hope they would with clubs. Obviously, they need to fund their football club, and they rely heavily on their sponsors that they arrange, which is a tremendous effort again to gain sponsorship in what can be a difficult environment sometimes. But so you would hope that profile and that connection raises the bar in the competition and makes sponsors want to sponsor the product.
Well, over our right shoulder at the moment, we've got another final happening underway. What's happening behind us, mate?
That's the National Bill Turner Cup competition. I believe it's the girls' final behind us, which Hunter Sports High feature in, and I think they feature in the boys' final shortly as well. So that's the combination of their competition as well.
Fantastic. Well, you know, thank you for your support throughout 2016 and many a year before that. And let's hope we can go up another few gears next year and sit here in 12 months' time and reminisce about 2017 at its highest of glory. Yeah,
Peter. I ducked up on the weekend with the guys that call the games to thank them on Northern's behalf for the efforts they've done, but also for you, mate. The interviews that you did this year with the clubs stalwarts and personnel, where the amount of positive comments I received in relation to those was fantastic. So hopefully we can continue on a theme next year as well and get around the clubs, and because people have an affiliation with their club and like to see the history being told and the like. So again, on behalf of Northern New South Wales Football, myself, thank you for your efforts this year, and we'll look forward to working with you again in 2017.
I appreciate that, Gary. Thanks very much. Bring on 2017.
Exactly.
Let's go get some lunch.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back next year.